So, man, I got my disappointed face on. You like the end of Loki season 2?
Yeah.
Him with the green time. It sounds like something I would make up. It really does. But it's real.
A ghost, a ghoul, a goblin, a monster, a werewolf.
Went on and wrote in the comments, I was going to say that came out great.
You're off to a great start.
Yeah. We got some fun stuff planned today. We got some goods. Yes, we do, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the podcast Never Sleeps. I'm Cameron. With me always is Jared. Happy to have you guys back. Yay, let's do it. Let's hear it for him.
Yeah, we're back.
So we got a fun episode planned for today. I got some fun articles per usual. We got a fun question of the day. And Rogan had on a guest. I mean, you were telling me about it. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're at all interested in ancient Egypt or any ancient history or mysteries or the pyramids, anything like, so Rogan had on a guest who was the only guy allowed to excavate in Egypt. He's the gatekeeper, and what was divulged and what was brought to light in that interview is so illuminating that we have to talk about it and we have to show some of it because we finally have answers. We know why everyone is being told the wrong things and why these really cool ideas are being dismissed outright. So easily, yeah, because the guy in charge is willfully blind and ignorant.
Do you want to jump into this now?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So sorry, who is this guy?
So Zahi Hawass, he's been the head guy for the Ministry of Antiquities in Egypt for like 50 years.
What's his name?
Zahi Hawass.
He sounds like an asshole, sort of.
Right, yeah. And I mean, he thinks he's Indiana Jones.
Oh, God.
And
I hate him already.
Yeah, he's been in every National Geographic about Egypt. He's been in every interview about Egypt. I mean, anything that has to do with ancient Egypt, this is the guy, right?
In National Geographic, he's one of the native women with the tits hanging out carrying a basket.
Right. So when it comes to Egypt, for some reason they made this guy the head guy. And he's been, because he was in the ministry, he was the guy who could say yes or no to any type of excavation or exploration of any ancient site in Egypt for the last 50 years.
He's old.
Yeah, he doesn't hold the title anymore, but the Ministry of Antiquities still goes to him first for everything. He gets to go do the digs before anyone else. If someone comes to him with an idea, he can tell them no and then go do it himself.
Oh, he's the worst?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He takes credit for every discovery.
So why did Rogan have him on? He thought he was going to get some cool info, some new info?
So Rogan is known for having on people like Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson, and some of these other guys that have these really interesting theories about the pyramids in ancient Egypt, as we still don't know who built them, right? Or how they built them.
The Jews built them.
Well, we know it was Egyptians that built them. We just, we don't know how. We don't know what the method was. And today we can't recreate
They used stones and sticks and they rolled them, right?
No, yeah, nobody knows. Except for Zahi Hawass. He 100% knows somehow.
Oh, yeah?
Nobody knows, but he does. In fact, if you ask him, he knows everything about ancient Egypt. There is no mystery.
Okay,
he solved all the mysteries
himself.
Okay. He's discovered everything himself. Okay. He is the only person that's right. And I want to show some of the clips. Joe is trying to really get answers here. And because he's heard the other side of the story, it's nice to have Zahi there.
By other side, you mean like the Tucker Carl or
all of the newer theories,
Random Hancock.
Anything different than the dogma that we've had about ancient Egypt for literally the last 50 years, or actually the last 100. Just the pyramids being tombs has been wrong. We know that the no hieroglyphics in any of the three pyramids on the Giza Plateau. That's a known fact. Apparently, it's not anymore because he's discovered them yesterday. Like, no matter what came up and
all right, let's watch this.
Anything strange, he had an answer for it and no proof. It was absurd.
Because most of the information that's written on pyramids are wrong.
Most of it?
So
most
stop
of
right there.
In archaeology?
In archaeology.
So he
bold.
Okay,
man.
yeah. So he has a book Everything is in his book, apparently. The only thing you can trust about ancient Egypt is in his book. You have to have his book. And for some reason, nothing in his book is published on the internet. Joe and what's his name?
I want you to buy the book.
What's the guy that works for Joe?
Young Jamie.
Joe and Jamie spend the whole episode Googling and looking for everything he talks about. They can't find a picture or a mention of one thing that he says. So that is
It's in his
suspicious,
book, dude.
And that's what he always
Read his
comes
book.
back to is no. It's why does it need to be on the internet if it's in my book? Well, guess what? Everything in every book is on the fucking internet. Why are you the only one who has a book that has nothing published on the internet in it? It's just bizarre. And
Well, I wrote a book about Neptune. If you want to know anything about anything that's in the book, you have to read the physical book.
yeah, it's never a thing.
Yeah,
but except for this case.
I've made discoveries about Neptune. Like I've made amazing.
And
leaps
if anyone read those discoveries, they would put online what you said.
No,
And-
I made everyone pinky promise not to.
exactly. So no one's either no one's read the book, which could be.
Why'd you do an impression of Owen Wilson though?
I don't know. So maybe nobody read the book and nobody's published anything from it. But these are the most significant discoveries ever. So I just find it hard to believe that nothing. So he starts off the interview like we just saw, saying everyone is wrong about ancient Egypt except for me. I'm the only one that knows.
Really?
Except me. and
Oh,
Mark
literally,
Wiener.
that's what he said.
You guys are the only ones that have it right?
Because have been working in Giza for the last 57 years of my life.
Okay.
This book is the
No
Bible
one else has worked in.
He called his
of
book
the pyramids
a
of
Bible.
Giza Plateau. I excavated every bit of sand.
Okay.
And I want to tell you one thing also.
It's the craziest thing to say.
I am the only Egyptologist who have an open mind.
What's
That
he
I
fucking
reveal-
talking
I
about?
always
The only
look.
one?
I always look at what the public say, and I will tell you about this later.
Stop
One
right
of the
there.
big ones that's come up.
He just said that he's the only Egyptologist with an open mind.
That's the craziest thing.
It's the craziest thing because
he said
he's,
he discovered every grain of sand.
I've excavated every
excavated.
grade. No, he's the most closed-minded person there ever has been. He won't debate anyone. He won't go out and talk to Graham Hancock or any of these guys. Some of these guys have been working in Egypt, like the guy who did the erosion on the Sphinx. I mean, he won't talk to any of these guys. He won't debate any of these guys.
Right, they're fakes, they're frauds, and he's the real deal.
He knows everything.
Holyfield.
And he won't let people have access to any of the ancient sites. So for him to say he's the only Egyptologist with an open mind, just that sentence alone shows you the mindset of this guy.
Yeah.
He wrote the Bible on Egypt. He's the only one who's right, and he's the only Egyptologist who has an open mind.
I sort of like him.
Everything he said so far is the opposite of having an open mind.
No,
so
I think he's right there.
so let's keep going with this madness, and you can see Joe's attitude already. He's like, "So you're the only ones that have it right?
Yeah.
You're the only one that knows? Okay." And it gets progressively worse as it goes on. Joe gets so frustrated with him, it's hilarious.
Okay.
Very recently that I'm sure you're aware of is these satellite radar where they think that there's these pillars underneath the structure.
We covered this on the show.
Investigated this. First of all, these two scholars from Italy, they have never been in Egypt. They have never worked in the pyramids before.
Meaningless.
So
they're
here's what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
Is unless you like touch the sand,
Yeah.
you have no idea what's going on there.
They're using satellites. You don't need to be there.
Yeah. If you're using a satellite, you need to be where the satellite is pointed.
Yeah.
That's the only way it works. You need to look at the satellite, and
The
it needs to look
purpose
at you.
of the technology is so that you don't
have to fucking
dig.
be there and dig. I
that's
know.
it. But no, so they can't be right because they're not there. He has more reasons why they're not right, and Joe
Dude, I sort of love this
has
guy.
to deal with it. Yeah, he's fun.
Like, what a punchable face.
And there's so many times where
annoying
mid-sentence,
voice.
he takes long drags of his cigar mid-sentence, so you're like, yeah, and everything he's saying is already frustrating.
Yeah.
So, but he'll do this. But Joe, I tell you, when I say that I know that
I hate him. I hate
I'm
him.
like,
hate
oh,
him.
like fucking land the plane. Okay. Here, keep it going. Let's all get there together. Let's all feel the rage.
All right.
Yeah.
Or let's all be like genuinely excited. I don't know. Pick your poison.
From Italy. They have never been in Egypt. They have never worked in the pyramids before.
Right. But
Number-
they're using
Right.
satellite
Listen,
information.
number two,
Like he's talking to a
they
fucking
published
2-year-old.
their article in a journal. This journal do not send their article to the freeze. You pay a fee to publish the article.
They didn't pay the
in
fee
your
to publish.
responsibility.
What the
Okay.
fuck does that mean?
Number three,
Means they're wrong.
I am
They
not
didn't
a
pay.
scientist. I took this techniques that they used and I gave it to expertise. No way.
Do you know about the Osiris shaft? How they've got
I
they scanned?
discovered it.
Yeah, you did, right?
Yes.
Do you
There's
know
no
that they
fucking
used
way.
this tomographic
No,
radar and they-
no,
I
I am
built-
the one who found it.
Pyramid. I built pyramid.
Basically. Yeah.
Sphinx. My face.
Right. Yeah, I think
This
that's what,
fucking guy's
That's what he
insane.
wants. I love that he's like, so he's all Joe's trying to do is say they use the same technology on the Osiris shaft.
Yeah.
He can't get there because as soon as Osiris shaft, I discovered
Me.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, but the technology that you're saying doesn't work. They used it on the Osiris.
No,
shaft.
no. I
No way.
discovered it. Yeah.
Okay. And then Joe even has to say, I don't know if I have it, but Joe even at one point has to say, no one's saying you didn't find it. We're saying that they use the same
Like he's a fucking 3-year-old.
because the guy he gets real defensive
No,
and
me.
angry. Yeah.
But no, Joseph. Not sour rights. Me.
Joe has to even say at one point, like, why do you always think everyone's attacking you?
Why
Like,
the
are
fuck would you say that? Everyone always says
why
that.
are you always under the defense? He's on the defense constantly. Okay.
I hate him. I
So
love
the
him.
pillars under the coffer, that's a big discovery. Imagine if that's true.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
I know.
And we saw them and what they look like. They look like spiral staircases
very
that go
fascinating.
600 feet under the ground into these big open box. Let's go down there and figure it out.
No, dude.
He won't even look because as far as he's concerned, the technology isn't real. So why even try? Why even go try?
Jared, the people are from Italy, dude. What don't you understand?
Yeah, they've never been to
How could they
Egypt.
know anything about pyramids if they live in Italy, Jared?
They didn't pay the fee to publish the article. If you don't pay the fee, then it's not real science.
Everybody knows that.
Think about how sick that is. That in order for it to be real science,
Well, what is this
you have to
fee?
pay a fee to publish in a scientific journal. They
Okay.
published elsewhere. We have the internet now. You can just put something out there. Because they didn't spend the money, which was their responsibility, to publish in in a specific journal, it's being dismissed.
Chase, who just joined, what's up,
Yeah.
Chase, by the way? Just saw you switch to an accent like mid-sentence and thinks you're just an insane person.
Yeah, probably.
Or had like
we're
a stroke.
watching Zahi Hawass and Joe Rogan talk about ancient Egypt, and Zahi is very difficult.
He's not, open-minded. He's the only open-minded
The only
Egyptologist.
open-minded Egyptologist.
And I think that's clear as day
yeah.
in this
He wrote
clips.
the Bible on ancient
no,
Egypt.
No, he wrote the Bible full stop.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
This not
no,
And he's on that new TV show? He's trying to make that new TV show. Is that him? The Egyptian Sopranos? Isn't this? I'm obviously
Oh,
not
okay.
a fucking joke.
I wasn't sure.
understand.
Doesn't
they
he look
found
like
it,
he'd be
but
on
they
the
also
Egyptian Sopranos?
discovered it. They showed that it exists using the same technique.
No, no. This is wrong. This is not true
Dude, him
at
even-
all.
Yeah, he looks
Shows
at Jamie
that
like,
they got an accurate depiction of that from space.
They're even showing
That's
it to
not
him.
true.
from satellite. It's not true.
No.
So what are you saying that they're lying? So
They're
this
lying.
right here.
They're completely lying.
They're
But
li-
if they're
he's
showing
willing to say they're
using these
lying.
techniques, things that we know that you
don't
discovered
give a
that
fuck.
absolutely
Okay.
exist.
Now, these techniques, as I told you, scientists said that these techniques cannot show 600 feet under the pyramid. The Osiris shaft that they found was only 50 feet.
Right, but
under
it's
the ground.
showing
A
at
second
least
ago,
for
they
50
never found
feet
it.
that this is
Yeah.
accurate. What makes you believe those scientists rather than these guys from Italy?
Because because
touch
the
the
scientists
sun.
are scientists.
Well, these are scientists as well.
They are not showing their techniques carefully. They are not.
What do you mean they're not
Okay,
showing their techniques carefully?
That means
the
nothing.
techniques that they said. Show it to any scientist. No one can tell you this is accurate.
Not one.
Every person who knows about radar, ultrasound. All the people work with me.
Work with him.
The
Yeah.
Scan Pyramid project. They said
All the
this is
people I
bullshit.
pay.
Literally.
In 500 BC, those are even more recent than the older stuff. Tell me about Zep Tepi.
What's What's this?
Have you heard about about the King's List, right? The old King's List. that
I
goes
wrote
back
the King's List.
30,000
To pretend he's never heard
years.
of Zep
Who
Tepi
said
is
that?
You never
bullshit.
seen it? It's not in hieroglyphs.
This is not true.
It's
at
not true?
all. No.
No?
This is a speculation from people who
So
knows
he's
nothing.
aware of it. He's pretending
about
not to
history.
be.
That's
So why
yeah.
does
The
it
first-
keep
he's a
saying
liar.
How do you know it's
Because they
speculation?
don't know.
Even though there is like some hieroglyphics of ancient kings, that these are just mythical tales.
This is not true. There is no.
Is he reading his
at
own
all
book?
A name that
No, he
you
just
told
has
me. I never heard of this name. Never heard of this king
name.
list at all.
Never?
Never. And
You
no,
never even heard of it?
Why I have to hear about it? Because it's not true.
Why do I
don't
have to hear about
waste
it?
my time.
It's not true.
And things like this.
That is the statement only a man who is being willfully ignorant
It's
can
the
make.
most closed-minded thing you could possibly say.
Yeah, that's literally you saying like,
Yeah,
I don't want to know about anything else.
literally.
I'm certain that what I know is true.
yeah. So
and everything else-
There's nothing more to be learned.
Yeah.
There,
CT, what up? Yeah.
Speculation is what leads to new discovery. You're not willing to listen to speculation. You're not willing to listen to anything at all. Like that's what he's saying. Why would I listen to it if I didn't discover it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He would be
that's what he's
he would be
saying.
the guy thousands of years ago who's like burning people who don't believe that Apollo is carrying
There
the
you go.
sun across the
Yeah.
sky. He's like, no, we've already did this. We already figured it out.
Yeah.
Here's what it is.
He's rolling heads down the Aztec pyramids
Yeah.
so it'll rain tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
he's all in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's
Dude.
wild.
Yeah. And he keep going. He just gets worse.
I hate him
Yeah.
so much. Look at this fucking face.
Why do I need to hear about that?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So with the Great Pyramid, what? Never heard of such thing.
No, yeah, exactly. There's no need to look into any new evidence, any new theories. There's
Jared,
no reason
he's
to
literally
go back
excavated
over.
every grain of sand in Egypt
Yeah.
per him.
Yep.
Every grain of sand.
That's it.
He knows more than all of us combined.
He tells.
And how would anybody from Italy or using a satellite know
Yeah.
what the fuck is it?
How could a
They don't know, man.
satellite see something in Egypt without being there?
Jared, his
physically?
eyeballs are always going to be better than a satellite.
Literally is what he says. Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Duh.
I am a person. Give me a fact.
So you've never heard of that before?
No, and this is not true.
What do you mean it's not true? I mean,
It's just-
I'm getting this off.
Never,
la, la,
never
la, la, la.
happened
It never
at
happened.
all.
Okay, I'm not saying it happened. I'm just saying that this is something that's referred to.
It's
Nope.
never be. I never heard about it. It is not true. It does not exist at all.
Even
is
if
it
it
not
doesn't
true?
I hate
exist,
it.
the myth.
Imagine
of it
this
I
exists.
don't
fucking
listen.
garbage person
That's
at
why
like a dinner
Joe's
party
like
or something.
freaking out.
Dude,
Yeah.
Joe is
he's getting
at his
so
wits' end.
pissed.
And the funny thing is, he does he'll film like 3 podcasts a day.
Yeah.
Imagine this is like your third one
Oh, dude.
of the day, third 3-hour fucking podcast,
Yeah.
and you get this guy, and it's like, all right, but like, what do you
he
think of
was
the King's
probably
List? though?
actually excited to
Yeah.
like try and
Yeah.
get some real answers, or even maybe just dispelling some of these
Before,
things.
yeah,
that we've
before
been
he had
hearing
like
about.
Burt Kreischer on like that
Yeah.
day. He's like, all right, I'll deal with this fucking guy who takes his shirt off and acts like an asshole. And then he
Yeah,
had
that's a weird bit.
yeah.
I
That's
don't
why I
like
love
it.
Nikki Glazer in the roast. She's like, Bert, I'm a huge fan of your joke. So good.
Yeah, that's good.
But but
There you go.
yeah. And then he probably had on like some Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
And he had cool conversations about
Mhm.
crazy shit, busting in doors.
This,
and,
I think he went into this thinking it was going to be really good.
like, dude, I'm about to hear
This is
from
the
the
guy.
horse's mouth.
Yeah, the expert.
A lot of
So
information.
everything that
Like,
Graham said, all these guys.
He's thinking when they booked him, what huge information is
Yeah.
going to be like for the first time ever is going to come out on my show. Like, what crazy shit are we going to hear
yeah,
about?
and he does have these weird. Like I said, there's a lot of revelations made on the show, but there's no proof to any of them. And
Oh, it's just him like saying,
yeah, like saying that he knows how they built the pyramids and has proof of how they did it.
but doesn't say.
He says it's in his book, but they can't find it online. The tools that they've been saying were used to
In
build
the
the
book?
pyramids. Nope. All these years we've been told the copper tools and how they sanded it. You even go there with the stone, and when you go on the tours, all of that he says is not true. That the real stuff is in his book.
So how are the pyramids built? You must read my book. In the book, it says like, how are the pyramids built? You must ask me in person.
Yeah, literally.
It just keeps going back.
But and none of his answers are meaningful. It's really frustrating.
I love him.
So why do I have to go to a myth of people
But
create
Is the
stories?
audio
If
not
you go
lined up
to
though? It looks like AI.
Wikipedia-
It looks like we generated this.
It might just be
exist. The myth of it
buffering.
I
exists.
don't listen.
Yeah, it's
Joe.
fine, it's lined up.
Why do I have to go to a myth of people
But this
create
is-
stories?
If you go to Wikipedia,
I
it's
don't
listed.
care about Wikipedia.
I understand.
I care
Dude,
about
this
what
guy
I
is
see
such
in my
an ignorant
eyes.
fuck.
Egyptian creation myth.
Fine.
You've never heard of that before?
Never heard of that.
That
because-
seems strange that you didn't hear about that before.
Listen,
because
listen, Joe.
I've heard of it before.
Fine, you can hear about
I
it.
mean, I just found it
It's
online.
it's a new age theory.
It's New Age.
Yes.
How do you
Listen
know that?
to me.
If
I
you've
know.
never heard of it.
I never heard of it.
I've never heard of it, but it's
can't have
wrong, it's
opinions
new
on things
age,
you don't
and
know
it's
about.
Speculation.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? So
I've never
have
heard of
you?
this, but
Yeah.
when Bill Jonovich created the
Yeah.
idea, well, you can't do both.
Yeah.
You can't do both. You can't know enough about it to disprove it and claim you've never heard of it.
Exactly.
You fucking idiot.
Right? If you've never heard of it, maybe it's something you should look into, not something you should just dismiss outright.
Especially, dude, if it's
So,
literally
what are we
something you've never
talking
heard of, and Joe Rogan's saying to you, "Hey, man, this thing,"
Yeah.
wouldn't you be like, "Oh, what about this thing? Jamie, pull it up. What are we talking about?"
Exactly. Yeah.
Instead of, "Nope, la, 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 la."
That's how you know he has heard of it.
Of course.
And that he's trying to pretend that it's so meaningless.
Dude, this guy
Yeah.
sucks.
Yep, he sucks. And this is
And I
is
don't
who we have
want to hear
listen
about
to.
it.
You don't want to
I
hear
don't
about
want
it?
to hear about it. He said those words. I don't even want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Don't want to hear about it.
Talk about my stuff and how
Yeah.
cool and smart I am.
Unless I found it.
I don't.
don't
It doesn't.
talk
It's not
about it.
real.
Yeah.
Unless I created it or came up with it.
Dude, this is the
Shut up.
gatekeeper of Egypt for 50 years.
That's why. Yeah, we don't know.
We're all
anything.
trying to find out the secrets behind these things, and this is why we
hate
can't.
him.
It's
I hate
because he's the guy at the fucking door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. But then listen to what he says after this. He's not willing to entertain that speculation, but listen to what he is willing to entertain.
No, why?
Base the dates on. Do you base it on carbon isotope?
No, we don't. We
No?
based dating on the evidence that we discover.
Right, but
Like
some of it
dynast-
is based on carbon, right?
No,
carbon testing.
I don't believe in carbon date 14.
He doesn't
Oh,
believe
you
in
don't?
carbon
no,
dating.
Carbon date 14 never give an accurate
And that's up.
dating. Then we know from books, from Judaism from the beginning, that the ancient Egyptians were really highly in magic. Then we can believe.
Do you think that magic might have had something to do with how they constructed the pyramids?
Dude.
No?
No. Yeah,
Wouldn't they use that magic for other
He believes
things?
they had magic.
but we have.
But if you believe in magic,
I do, of course.
you do believe in magic.
Yeah.
So you believe that someone could take someone's head off, put it back
This
on.
it's written.
Okay, then it must be true.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yo.
literally.
Yo.
He believes because it was written on a scroll
I'm
that
too hot for jail, bro.
a guy was able to remove someone's head and put it back on their body and they would live through that, and that it was displayed for a king using a goose. He
Yeah.
removed the head of the goose, put it back on, the
Yeah.
goose was fine.
Magic.
And that magic he believes in because it was written, but he doesn't believe in carbon dating.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe in Zep Tepi.
Wait, you think they could use that same magic to build the pyramids? You idiot!
Literally, yeah.
You're
That he had
so
to-
dumb.
So if they had this
Sticks and
magic,
stones and mud, dumb.
you said you believed in this magic, but you don't believe they had the ability to levitate stones, or like that's kind
They
of
can
where
only
he's
use
getting at.
magic
Nope.
to put heads back on.
So what he said,
Exclusive magic.
his discoveries is that he found hieroglyphics in the Great Pyramid. So this is the first time that that's ever happened. There are no hieroglyphics in
Yeah.
any of the three Giza pyramids.
Apparently there are.
He found them hidden behind a stone, behind a stone, behind a stone, using a robot and then a camera. He slid in there,
No, he didn't.
and he can't tell you what it says because it's written in cursive hieroglyphics.
Oh, yeah.
Very hard to decipher the cursive hieroglyphics, and he believes that it's the names of the guys that built
You know, it'd be
the
great.
pyramids that they signed their
What's
work.
this idiot's name?
Zahi Hawass.
They'll be like, tonight on the 6 o'clock news, Mr. Zahi Hawass found unalived in his apartment 3 weeks ago. This guy's just some fucking dude.
No,
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. He was
He's
the driver.
in the book.
Yeah, he was the Uber driver that was waiting out front.
That's why he has no answers.
Yeah.
You gotta read the book.
Have you heard of the King's list? No, but it's
Yeah.
wrong.
It's wrong.
Idiot.
New age speculation.
Yeah. Wait, how would you?
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot. You have a lot to say about something you've never heard of before.
Hold on real quick. Oh no, they're not tipping. I'm not taking this ride. I'm not the Uber driver if that's what you think.
Yeah. So most frustrating conversation ever. I could do a whole episode about just this guy because he's finally on display. We know who he is now. That we've never had this opportunity. We've only seen him in these curated little bites here and there.
Yeah.
Now we've seen him on display for a full 2 hours, and he is truly
Horrific. He's
the worst
awful.
person you could have in charge of a whole.
He's like looking at his
historical
face
site.
upsets me.
Yeah.
Listening to his voice and the words that come out of his stupid fucking face upset
We'll
me.
never solve any of the mysteries of Egypt as long as that guy is holding the keys.
Dude, but
We
how
have to get rid of him.
How many
Get him out of
areas of science is this the case? Where there's these old school gatekeepers that are just like,
Unfortunately, all of them.
every type.
It's
of
pretty
science.
rough. And we know that history's altered all the time.
Yeah,
And we find out new things every day, and we're like, wait, that happened? Like, oh, that's like we did that 50 years ago. Oh, that's awful.
Yeah.
There's we find out a lot of stuff like that. And then the victors always write the history books. So
yeah.
we barely know anything about our own history. And
You know, it'd be great if that wasn't the case, where it was true, like unbiased history, where you got both sides. Like Xerxes,
It's very
all his
rare.
notes are in there.
Yeah.
So you're like, dude, we're the dopest army ever, blah, 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 you know? And then you have the Greeks and they have their thing.
Yeah.
And you read them side by side.
It's rare, but the reason it's rare is because every time someone won, they burned everything that the other person had.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's it. And then they would build their temples on top of the old temples,
Yeah,
and they
literally.
would anything that was written was burned or destroyed.
And I love that that's that dude's like main defense of things. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, why do you believe in magic? It was written down on a napkin.
Isn't that crazy? I don't believe in carbon dating. I read what's on the scroll, and that's how I date things. Like, dude, people are wrong about all kinds of shit. You don't
read what's on the
believe
scroll.
in
So-
carbon dating,
Yeah.
but you don't believe in satellite tomography, even
don't
though
believe in
we
satellites
proved
at all.
it works. And
I don't think satellites have been invented yet.
what's not in that conversation is when he gets to the Queen's Chamber thing, and he says, "Oh, they use the
Never
same,
heard of it.
the same." Yeah, exactly. They use the same technology to go through. He goes, "Yes, but they can't go through the stone." All my scientists say that they can't use
Stones
that
are
technology
rough,
to
dude.
go through the
They're
stone.
hard.
Right.
What don't you get, bro?
And so it comes to light that actually the Queen's Chamber that they perfectly mapped using this technology
Mm-hmm.
was thicker stone than the bottom of the pyramid is. So
It would have been, in
it would
theory,
have been
harder to see through that.
easier to see under the
would have been
pyramids than
easier.
it would to
The
see
Queen's
this
Chamber.
chamber. So we know it works.
Nonsense.
Which means there is something down there. And he's going to be the one to uncover it if anyone's going to do it. He tells a story in there where he found 3 sarcophagus stacked on top of each other. And he calls the ministry.
No, he didn't.
Maybe he didn't. But he calls the ministry, tells them about the discovery. And they say, don't open it. Wait for us to bring a crew down there first. We'll do a whole press thing. Wait for us before you open it. He says, I didn't wait. I opened the first one. I found a second one. I opened the second one. I found a third one underneath that. We opened all of them, looked inside.
Russian nesting eggs.
Then I had-
sarcophagi edition.
And then I had them put all the blocks back. And then I told them that they could come with the camera so that they could film it. They thought that it was being opened for the first time, but I had already looked and seen everything that was inside. That's the way this guy thinks.
I hate him, man.
So imagine any discovery that he found. It's his, and it's his secret.
There was a sign that said employees must wash hands before returning to work. I didn't wash hands. I chose not to.
I remember telling you about the sleeping psychics that he found. There's a hall of records under the Sphinx. They came to him decades ago, and they said Edgar Casey said that there's this hall of records under the Sphinx. can we drill just these couple holes to see if there's a gap down there?
Yeah.
No way. Why would I let you do that? Then he admits later, to protect the Sphinx, I realized I actually had to drill into it to protect it from the elements. And I looked down there, and there was some hallways and things. But I didn't
it was
see
my
any
own idea.
So he did. He took someone else's idea and what
So he
they
sucks.
wanted to
This guy
discover
sucks.
and
Yeah.
stole it. He did it. And when he didn't find what he was looking for, or maybe he did,
Yeah.
he closed it back up. The reason he lost his job, speculation, is that he was selling antiquities on the black market.
I believe it.
He looks
looks
that's
like
who
a
he
piece of
is.
shit,
Yeah. So that's who we're dealing with.
Like things, like
No.
treasures that
Yeah.
will never be able to.
Untold
Like, yeah.
treasures, one of a kind. They're sitting on some billionaire's mantle.
Yeah.
He's the guy. Everyone knows he's the guy.
Not even some billionaire. He was just hard up for cash. He's like, 1,200. I only got 1,000, man. 1,100, please.
Yeah.
I got family too.
Think about that. This guy has access
have
to
$1,000.
everything. And just as recently as the Iraq War, people were going in and destroying all the Sumerian artifacts and all the Sumerians, the tablets. And I mean, it just sucks. We're losing history to this kind of fucking nonsense. But yeah, so that's Zahi Hawass. Like I said, I might even do a whole video about all of the silly shit he says. That's why I didn't want to do too much right now.
Yeah.
There's-
If you did a
there's
video,
a lot there, dude.
if you did a video,
There's like so much.
about just from this podcast, just all the nonsense and just the contradictions.
Yes.
Yeah,
I could do a
think
whole
I'd
video
watch that.
just on that. Yeah.
I think people would want to.
Oh yeah, and I can compare it to what other people have said, and dude, the way he says the pyramids were built, I can't wait. Yeah, we'll do a video about it.
Hell yeah, we
Yeah.
must.
It makes no freaking sense, but he's got all the evidence in his book. It's there. Apparently, he proved it years ago.
Yeah, because
We're all just so
catching
dumb.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for your question of the day, my boy?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Let's see what we got. Oh, that was a good one. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Ooh. Here's one.
Yeah.
If you could eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh, so it used to be sushi. I've had this thought before that if I had to pick like one type of food to eat every day, but I know that would probably kill me, just mercury wise, right?
Maybe.
I think
don't
it
know.
would. I think you could get too much mercury.
The Japanese
and
are
die.
like they're living it, man. They look great.
I know, but
they
I don't
look
think
young,
they
they're
eat
slender.
sushi. They eat a lot of rice. That's true. They eat a lot of seaweed. Seaweed's really good
Seaweed's
for you.
great, yeah.
I just don't know if they eat raw fish every meal. I
I'm
don't
pretty
think
certain
that's how they
that
do
there's
it.
some people that for sure do. Like there's the carnivore diet, and then there's the
And it depends on
pescatore
where it's
diet.
from. I've had sushi before that tasted so legit. Like I've gone to sushi restaurants and they all taste the same. And then I've gone to places where the fish tastes like it just came out of the water.
The place we go all the time that I went
Mm-hmm.
yesterday is so. It's the freshest. It's so good, and it's like this little hidden gem. But now everybody's starting to know about it. Every
Yeah.
time we go, it's a little more packed. We're like,
Yeah, I've
"God
had a
damn
few
it."
good places, but there's a few places I've had where I'm
This
like,
place,
wait,
remember,
this
it used to be
is
called Tokyoto.
crazy.
Remember that?
Yeah.
It's now like a new management or a new name. The best.
Is it?
It's the best.
Even it was back. It was good
The
back
best.
then.
It was great back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, dude, for me, oh man, a good like Caesar salad I could eat forever. Sushi's a good pick though.
Yeah, because Caesar salad. I mean, every day
it'd get
or
old.
every meal. That's tough.
You know what?
Sushi
Pepperoni
has
pizza.
a lot of options.
Fucking A, man. Pepperoni pizza.
Even that,
It-
you could.
I'd,
And you'd be so unhealthy.
oh no, I'd
You
die.
would die.
But no, I'm saying health has nothing to do with it. This is
Okay.
just
Just for
taste,
fun.
yeah.
Oh, then I could still say sushi, I guess. Because
dude, I would get that fish taste and texture and shit. I would get sick of that real quick.
no, because you have all these options. So like when I could like shrimp tempura is part of that. You can do the tempuras. You've also
Well,
got the.
then I could. That's like me saying Italian food, and I could just be like, oh, I have spaghetti
So
one
that's
day.
with sushi. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
That's what I'm saying.
Everything
You're-
on the all-you-can-eat menu. Like that's what.
Okay, not the
right?
a la carte menu. Just
So
like,
you want just one food.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So then it can't be sushi, right? I would have to say
You'd
like
have to say
salmon
salmon,
nigiri or something. So no. What one food could I eat every single?
While you're thinking about that, I'll give you something else to think about.
Sure.
What is the most ridiculous fact that you know? Most ridiculous fact. I think I have mine. I have one that's real good. I got a couple.
Ooh, that I could actually say out loud. Because I know some really cool facts.
Yeah, like what? What's the most ridiculous?
Well, think about like some of the jobs I've had. I've been privy to some really interesting things.
Oh, at the gas station, yeah. Like
Yeah.
how do they make the hot dogs stay so tasty for so long?
They don't.
They taste like shit after an hour.
Yeah, no. They're replaced very, very frequently. No.
By who?
Yeah. So what's yours?
Do you know the longest word in the English language?
Oh no.
Do you want to guess? Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Is that in the dictionary?
I hope not. Maybe.
Because then that would be it.
It's pneumona ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis.
Yeah.
And yes, I spent the time learning that years ago.
Wow. That's
Pneumona
wild.
ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. Pneumona ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis. So it's it was intended to be the longest word. And it was like literally created just to be the
They
longest
built
word.
it just for that purpose.
Yeah,
That's
and it's
fucking
basically
frustrating.
it's a disease where you are like near a volcano and you inhale too much silica and get like a lung disease from it.
But was that the afterthought? They just wanted to see how many things they could put together, and then they came up with what
They're
it
like,
was?
let's come up with the longest word.
Okay, so that with
And
that
then-
being the goal, they realized what this is we can make it into this.
Yeah, I don't know which came first, like the chicken or the egg. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this disease. Oh, what if we just added a few more syllables, whatever, and make it the longest word? Or if they're like, let's make the longest word, how about we do it based off this? Yeah, I don't know which one came first, but
Yeah.
it was intended to be. Another ridiculous fact. So what was yours?
Oh,
You didn't say one yet.
I haven't said one yet. Yeah, a ridiculous fact. I know a lot of weird stuff. I just can't think of anything ridiculous off the top
Okay,
of my head.
what's weird? Give me a weird one.
Oh, well, see, again, I'm trying to think
Like
of,
the human head weighs 8 pounds. Like, come on, anything. You never seen Jerry Maguire? Come on, dude.
you know what I find pretty fascinating is
That's what I'm asking. Yeah.
is like the idea of consciousness, right? People feel like your consciousness is like an antenna of some sort, like the waves go in and out, and you're picking things up and putting things out at the same time.
The most ridiculous fact you know. That was the question.
Yeah, I guess I was gonna get there.
Okay, I was just making sure. Okay, go on.
But I find it kind of interesting that if that's the case, when you're inside of like a Faraday cage, your brain still functions, which means your brain waves would have to be running at like some sort of quantum level. So it's almost like what scalar waves, where they're unaffected by electromagnetic fields or anything.
I feel like
isn't
you're
that
answering.
strange?
You're answering the question. What's the funnest speculative concept that you have been mulling over lately?
Well, no, you can. Well, yeah, it's something I've been thinking about. I'm like, how is it that you can sit inside of like like if your brain's an antenna and it works on waves, if you're in an electromagnetic field, it's not affecting your thoughts. Like you can still think, right? So how's that work actually? It must be some sort of like wave that's
consciousness
unaffected.
isn't in your brain or whatever you're saying.
It must exist
Okay.
two places simultaneously. It must.
So what's a great fact that you know?
I don't know. I can't.
Did
think
you've
off the top
never
of my
been able
head.
to answer any of these?
Yeah, because you ahead of time.
I don't.
Probably
I wrote
thinking
those, Jared.
about-
I wrote all those questions one time, like 6 months ago.
Yeah, but with answers in mind.
No. I said, ChatGPT, what are some good questions to ask on a fucking podcast?
Yeah, but that is something I've just been thinking about lately. I find that fascinating.
But come on. Come on here.
A fact.
Yeah, most ridiculous fact. Ultramicroscopic
The idea that it's
silicovolcanoconiosis.
ridiculous makes it even hard. I don't know.
What's a
Like,
crazy cool fact?
I don't know.
What's something that like you think would impress somebody if you told them like, oh, this is something. Oh, I don't think maybe everybody knows this. What's 1,000 terabytes?
Yeah, a petabyte.
Not a lot of people fucking know that. Like, come on, dude. You got this.
Yeah, that's not interesting.
Well,
or
I'm
ridiculous.
trying to get you going here.
Yeah.
All right, well, you figure that
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
You can't.
Sorry, that's a tough one.
It's
a
not.
ridiculous fact. Like,
It's not.
'cause I'm trying to think of something that's a fact that's silly.
Here's a ridiculous fact. I came up with my own language when I was in kindergarten. That's a ridiculous fact, and that's a fact, and it's ridiculous. I can keep going.
Yeah.
What you got,
I don't know.
bro?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe just right now I just don't have anything top of mind. Because normally I do have like weird things that I know.
It's crazy because if we go into any episode we've ever done,
Yeah.
I could literally name fucking 10 per episode.
Yeah.
A crazy fact that you know, and
Literally, yeah.
you're just like brain dead.
Yeah, I think right now I just
We work
think
and
of
then
one.
we do the show. I get it. It's a lot, but yeah, okay. Anyway, so good questions of the day. All right,
Yeah.
Nothing.
Um
Mull it over.
yeah.
Okay, don't give up on it. In the meantime,
Yep.
check this out.
Okay.
Maintenance worker charged in New Orleans jail escape said inmate threatened to shank him. So he helped him escape. He's like, well, I don't get shanked, of course.
Okay.
Here, let me get you out of here, bud. A maintenance worker.
In New Orleans, quite the development here. A local jail maintenance worker now under arrest, accused of helping 10 inmates carry out a brazen escape last
That's a
week.
lot.
10
The
is
video
a
was
lot.
wild. This news coming after police captured a fourth man yesterday. 6 other inmates, though, still remain on the run at this hour.
Did this happen,
According to
like, in
investigators,
real
they broke
time?
out
Jesus
by
Christ.
cutting a hole out through a cell wall, removing the rebar, leaving a written message behind saying it was, quote, too easy. NBC News correspondent Ryan Chandler
Well, they
joining me
shouldn't have
now
said
from
that.
They
New
shouldn't
Orleans.
have said
Ryan,
that,
thanks for
especially-
being with us. Obviously, there were rumblings of
The
assistant.
four-
Screwing it up for everyone else.
The 4 who got caught,
Yeah.
like, oh, the cops are like, oh, was it too easy? Oh, yeah. You know what else was too easy? Dummy. Catching your dumb ass.
Yeah, you went home.
yeah. You went to your
Idiot.
your fucking mother-in-law's house. Like we knew where you
You
were.
obviously have to have a go bag buried in a cemetery somewhere with fake passports and a
That'd be
change of
dope.
clothes.
Bro, can you imagine if the world was anything like Prison Break, where people were actually like clever and like this guy's tattooing fucking plans on his body?
I think there are situations like
All those
that.
people are dead.
Dude, I think that they're not.
Everyone
all dead.
smart died.
I think there's a lot of clever people
Yes, Jason.
working for like the CIA and
I don't
like
even know.
intelligence services.
They've been fired probably.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
I do think that we have some real.
What are these? Your own
intelligent
thoughts? Get out of here.
people. Like, who are the guys working on like aerospace and shit? Like those guys, that's some smart people. Like there are some rooms that I really wish I could sit in and just
be a fly on the wall. Yeah.
No, to actually, I would want to be part of that conversation. I would
no.
love to hear like, okay, here's the problem. Like, this is what we need to solve for. What do we do if this happens? What do we do if China attacks, Taiwan tomorrow?
So to
Like,
be a
what is
fly on the
plan?
wall. Yeah.
No, I would.
Well, what are you
wanna
gonna
be-
do in it? Well,
I would-
Jared, your thoughts?
Right, I would want to know. So after
To
a
that
smart person
to that
knows,
question, what would you say?
Well, I'd want to hear first what the military plan was from a Navy perspective and from like
So
what do we have in place?
we have
where
it
are our
surrounded.
assets? What's going on, right? And then I'd want to know like where everything is. I want to know how quick the response times are. I want to know what kind of like do we have satellites on on their fleet, and what do we have from an intelligence perspective? Do we have people on the ground? Have we turned anybody that's able to? So like I would want to know everything, all the variables, and then yes, I would love to make suggestions on what we could and couldn't do, or should or shouldn't do, or how we get involved.
Okay,
and,
so
and what that looks
in
like.
history,
Yeah.
if you could be a fly, not necessarily a person in the room, but a fly on the wall in history, in any room,
Yeah.
at any time,
Yeah.
what would it be? Post Roswell, whatever. What would it be?
I would love to be part of the conversations that happened during
Post-Roswell.
post World War II. So
Like, what
like
do you
when they were putting together like the nuclear what was it? So not the Manhattan Project, but like the Department of Energy, and like when they were starting to put together all of the parameters around.
If you can go anywhere in
nuclear
history, you'd want to.
secrecy. Yeah, I'd want to sit in the room with with Oppenheimer and all those guys that came up with the I am brain dead today. The Energy Commission. What is it called? The
Energy Commission.
Yeah, those guys came up with like all of the secrecy levels that have to do with nuclear weapons.
Energy Commission. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so that before the DOE, there was this, in the movie Oppenheimer, Robert Downey Jr. is actually the head of the commission. It's like the AEC or something.
It doesn't
like that.
matter. All right.
Yeah, whatever it is. Those guys, this is we just created the game-changing weapon.
Yeah.
And now we have to keep it secret, but we also have to keep moving the technology forward. Being able to hear those conversations, I think that would be amazing. I would love to hear like those guys talk, like Ed Teller and Oppenheimer and just all those
Penn
guys.
Jillette.
What they had, Townsend Brown. We've talked about him. Another one that's interesting to me is all of the guys that were trying to solve gravity.
DOE
in North Carolina.
D-Lavar saying DOE.
It was before the Department of Energy. I think it was the AEC, something like that. The Atomic Energy Commission, AEC, yeah. So the Atomic Energy Commission precursor to the DOE.
Okay.
Yeah, and then DOE has its own secrecy but yeah, a lot of the stuff like the UFO secrecy and all the things around
so
crash
again,
retrievals is
any room
DOE.
in history.
Yeah.
Where would you go?
I would want to be part of the conversations post World War II nuclear drop, like those.
So there's like one instance, one room. Like what are he saying? Where?
Yeah, so it would have to be while Oppenheimer still had his clearance, because I just want to hear what he had to say and when he was weighing in on making these decisions. So you got like him and Teller
on what decisions?
On what to do about like UFOs and recoveries and nuclear weapons, and that's all one conversation. This was all part of when they built atomic secrecy. They built in UFO secrecy into that. That was part of it because they had the UFO problem while they were testing the nuclear weapons. They were showing up, so then they decided to keep it all a secret under the same umbrella. There was the Atomic Energy Commission, and then they turned it into the DOE.
Yeah, okay.
And so I would love to be part of the conversations of where they decided we're going to keep these things secret and why. Because I'd love to hear what their thoughts were about it. Like, why? Why is that? Why are we keeping that secret? People know the nuclear bomb exists. We don't teach you how to build one.
It wouldn't be like in one of those rooms, like right after Roswell, like they build up a little tent and they all the.
Well, so all of this would have been discussed in the rooms I'm talking about. Roswell was like the third retrieval.
This is years
but Roswell's like third or fourth. Like we already had like 3 craft, but by the time Roswell happened. So yeah, I'd love to. Oh yeah, a great room to be in. The Magenta crash. When the Pope back channeled that UFO from Italy to America, I would love to hear that conversation.
Yeah.
You're a sitting Pope telling the American government that they have a craft of unknown origin that's probably an alien spaceship, and that the Germans had been experimenting with it during World War II.
Yeah, you know what would be interesting? Would be
that's insane.
Being in the room deciding they're dropping the bomb on in Japan would be wild. Just hearing like making that call, like fuck.
Yeah.
And hearing those people, like, how do you have that conversation? Who were the dissenters who were totally with it? You know what I mean? Who were like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then who was like, let's go, bitches.
Well, you know, the thought behind it was we can't win a ground war against the Japanese. That's why we did it. We couldn't go. They had too many people, and their form of warfare was so much more brutal than ours.
Yeah.
They were willing to die.
Oh, yeah.
Like fly their planes right into our
Kamikaze,
ships.
baby.
And they had too many troops. We didn't have enough. And we had just gotten done losing a lot of troops in Europe. So the idea was we need to make a statement.
If they never touched Pearl Harbor? Crazy.
Yeah, so there is some controversy behind Pearl Harbor. Stuff that I heard recently that seems really
saying we did it is so
no,
horrible.
not that we did it, that we allowed it though. So there's a lot of
there's
proof.
been evidence for that for a minute.
Yeah, that we actually called out all of our biggest carriers just the night before,
Get out of
but
here.
left just enough to make it look like a surprise. And we
That's
know
so
the Gulf
not
of Tonkin happened. They had drafted the Gulf of Tonkin legislation before they before the Gulf of Tonkin incident happened.
Oh, wow.
The paperwork was
Oh,
already
what?
drawn up. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So it was a friendly fire. Remember, it was two American ships fired on each other, and they said that it was the Vietnamese firing on them. Yeah. And then later they said, oh, it was a mistake. It was friendly fire, but we had already declared war. Turns out there was legislation to go to war based on the Gulf of Tonkin incident written days before it happened, which means the friendly fire incident was set up.
You're not caught up on The Last of Us, right?
No.
Season 2, how far are you? Episode 2.
3?
You-
I
you're on
finished
episode-
3. Yeah.
Finish it, goddamn. Get up to 6, please.
How many others? 6? Yeah, I
There's
can get
6
there.
out right now. Next week there'll be 7. And
Few
then
days, yeah.
we're doing a video about The Last of Us.
I'll watch
also.
it in a few days. Yeah. Shouldn't take long.
No, dude, the fact that you can binge right now and you're not, like, it pisses me off to no end.
I can't binge TV shows. I really can't. I need to go to sleep. I'm up so early.
You just told me you were re-binging Third Body Problem for the
Not
fucking
binging,
15th time.
rewatching. I didn't say I binged it. I'm on episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
I started a week ago. Yeah.
you started today.
No.
Well, anyway, fucking watch it.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous show. It's
Yeah.
so good. People are shitting all over
Three
it.
Body Problem's great to watch a
I'm
second
not
time.
going to listen to you talk about this show again.
Well, no, it's...
I swear that 90% of this podcast is you've been talking about that shit.
Well, no, because you haven't seen it. And every time I bring it up, I'm like... And it's been out for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So you got to watch it. Last of Us is brand new. If I'm not caught up, that's normal. Most people
Last
aren't.
of Us is like a great show that like is everybody's
Three Body
talking
Problem
about.
is too the #1 show on Netflix for months.
I don't believe that.
I know, but it was.
Maybe like the slowest months of the year.
No, because it's a best-selling book,
I
and
get
it's
that.
still a best-selling book. Like
To be
it's
best-selling
never
book though,
left
like you need to
best-selling.
sell like 100 copies.
No. It's still like in the bestsellers list and the most like downloaded and watched. In China, it's like
Okay.
required reading. It's required reading in schools. Like it's
In China
it is what
and
it is.
schools.
It's true. No, I'm saying in America too, but it's actually required reading in China. It's
In schools.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the only time you can require reading, really.
Well, no, they can require anything.
Yeah, I guess sort of.
Yeah, not sort of. Yes, they can require anything.
Not really.
Yeah, they can require total
You to rip off your
compliance.
skin?
If they told you to do it, yeah.
Okay.
There's no choice there. Yeah.
Well, it's not. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to get into it. Sure.
Yeah, but no, that's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, place is wild. But hey.
Yeah. So yeah,
it is what it is.
places.
So,
places
but anyway, if you want to compare numbers, how many people tune in for The Last of
find
Us?
out. Well, no. The
Oh,
Last
yeah,
of Us
please,
is
please.
The Last of Us is is a video game. It's a pop culture thing.
It's a pop culture
But just so you
phenomenon,
know,
indeed.
So let's look at Three Body Problem here.
What are you looking at? Because I'm
I'm gonna
talking
look
about
up-
compared to The Last of Us. Yeah,
Well, no, we're not comparing them.
that's all I'm talking about.
I'm talking about how Three Body Problem is one of the most popular shows on Netflix. You said it wasn't.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll say it's probably like number 18, maybe
Okay,
maybe.
Let's see. How long
in the history of fucking Netflix. It's maybe number like 20. Think of Stranger Things, Black Mirror. Think of the shows that are on Netflix, bro. Third Body Problem, nobody gives a fuck about. Nobody's seen it.
No, that's not true. Everybody's seen it
Just
except
because
you.
you are obsessed with it doesn't mean
No.
everybody's seen it.
Okay, 15.6 million views.
Yeah, that's
pretty
nothing.
good.
That's not that
2.3.
good.
No, hold on. So hold on. It reached the top spot on Netflix with 15.6 million views when it released. That was when it released.
Okay.
The book has been read 2.3 billion times and discussed 1.42 million times on Webio in China.
Well, yeah, that's the
specifically.
book. I don't care about
Yeah.
the book. Okay, now look up Game of Thrones or The
Three
Last
Body
of Us
Problem
or a real show.
consistently ranked among the top 10 most watched shows on Netflix since it came out. It stays top 10. So for
top
2
10.
years, it's been in the top 10.
Okay.
For 2 years, it's been in the top 10.
Look up numbers on like The Last of Us.
Okay, but we're not comparing the two because they're two totally different things. But you said it wasn't a popular
That's all I'm
show.
saying is I'm saying you're wasting your
This
time watching
show's-
that.
No, this show's been
It's
in the top 10
I'm
since
talking
it
about
came out. It's been in the top 10.
Okay, well, look at the
that's-
numbers because one's HBO, one's Netflix.
That's big numbers.
So if this show was on HBO, nobody would have seen it.
Okay.
Nobody's seen it. I don't care. Nobody watches Third Body Problem. I watch it all you want. I'm just saying watch a show that's really good
surprised-
and
but
better than
why
that.
won't you
also.
watch it?
'Cause
Okay,
I
so
have no interest.
So we've got 32 million viewers for this one
For what?
The Last of Us.
Season 1.
So it had 5.3 million viewers in the U.S.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's what it says. And
For what episode?
I'm saying. So when the show aired, it had 5.3 million viewers across linear channels and Max.
Okay.
So
Now look, season finale. What are them numbers?
that's the new season, and so the first season had 4.7 million.
What about the season
So
finale?
that's a third of the views for the other show.
What are you talking about?
And hold on, now The Last of Us averages 32 million viewers per episode.
That's insane.
Now, yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's insane. Versus 5 million ever in for third battlefield.
No,
I'm just
I told you it was billions. It was
No, the
read
book.
2.3 billion times exactly.
You can't.
That makes
you can't do that. It's like me saying.
No, yes, I can, because this has a video game that bolstered it. Mine
No, it's
has
like
a
me
book
saying
that
Rings of
bolstered
Power
it.
is the most popular show ever. Dude, people have read Lord of the Rings. It's like, no. Rings of Power is its own fucking thing. It's not the books. You know? Anyway, but I'll watch the show. Just watch the greatest show ever that's
I do
out right
watch
now.
it. I told you I'm on
We'll
episode
catch up.
3. I just
They're in
didn't
episode
care
3 of
for-
6.
Yeah, because episode 2 ruined it for me. I didn't care anymore. Like it took away my need to care.
I know. So many people feel that way.
Yeah,
But-
because he was the whole show.
Well, watch the show,
Yeah.
and don't just give up when you don't know what's going on. You got to watch. Oh my god, especially this last episode. Oof, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Enough with whatever.
Well, no,
it
because
is.
these are interesting facts.
Okay, well, we don't need the facts, but that's it. We're done. That's an hour, bitches.
All right.
So I got a bunch more articles. I guess we'll get to them next
So
week.
15 million views. Yeah, that's pretty good.
No, that's really good.
Yeah, you got to watch it, dude. It's
Yeah.
really good.
I love Benedict Wong. I don't even.
No,
know who else is-
everybody, you know who's in it. The guy from fucking Game of Thrones is in it.
Oh yeah, Davos. I
Yeah,
love too.
He's the best. The whole cast is so
you know-
good.
There's this show coming out that looks sick, dude. It's Mark Ruffalo and this dude who I love. You remember the best show ever, Banshee?
Yeah.
Dude, talk about a fucking underrated show.
Yeah. I
That
know.
show was so good.
It only had a few seasons.
It had like 5 or 6. It had it had a bunch.
I don't remember it being that many. I think it was like 4.
Will you ask? I guess I could ask.
I just remember it ending.
How many
too
seasons
soon.
of Banshee were there?
Like that show should have never stopped. It should have been like
Yeah, there's 24.
Game of
No,
Thrones.
there's 4 of them.
Yeah.
4 seasons.
Yeah, that's not enough.
Do you remember how many seasons of Game of Thrones there were?
6, right? 7.
7, yes, very close. And The Last of Us, the 3rd season. They're doing a 3rd season. Which doesn't make any fucking sense to me. There's 2 games.
Yeah.
They're out of source
So
material.
they're not going to finish the second game in this season, probably. How many episodes
No, they
per
are.
season?
They are. There's 9 last season. There's 7 this season.
So, yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
So there's going to be
They
5 next season.
They got to finish the fucking, what is it?
finish the story.
No, they got to finish the Stranger Things already. It's been like 5 years.
Since the last season.
Yeah,
I know.
what are they doing? Just finish the fucking
Post-production.
show.
I know.
No, it's too much.
It's been forever.
Yeah.
I know. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. Everybody in the chat, everybody at home, all you watching after the fact. You rock.
I called the AEC, by the way. I'm proud of myself for knowing that one.
Did you look it up and find out you were right?
No, I just know.
Oh, you just
Atomic
remembered,
Energy
yeah.
Commission. I
Nice.
was like, it's AEC, right?
Jared.
Yeah, thanks for joining. We're dropping pre-recorded content. Make sure you watch it, please. It's fun. Like, subscribe. Let us know what you want to see, what topics you want to cover. Watch the Zahi Hawass interview. It will drive you freaking bananas.
Yeah.
And if you're into anything ancient history or ancient Egypt, you have to watch. It's a must-watch interview.
must.
Yeah, it'll change everything.
Yeah.
No.
What I was saying is there's a show with Mark Ruffalo and Tom Pelfrey or something. I forget his name. But the guy from Banshee, he played the Nazi who became a cop, or the Yahtzee. Sorry,
yeah,
YouTube.
yeah.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I loved him. Everything he's been in. Great show. See you guys next week. Chase, see you next week. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you. You're the cat's PJs, you're the bee's knees. And we will catch you on the flippity flop. We love you so much, and we'll see you later, skater.